Are you guys tired of winning yet? Hi, I'm Caleb Jones. This is Unchained CEO, where we talk about how to create your own location-independent consulting or service-based business that sets you free from your 9-to-5 job and your collapsing Western country, and maybe even moving out of your collapsing Western country and going somewhere less bad, somewhere that would make you happier, or at a bare minimum, setting up an international backup plan and doing all these things for very little money. To that point, as I've talked about in my book, Freedom Fortress, and if you haven't gotten that book, you really should, because this topic is one of the things I address in that book. That's at caleb.top/freedom, I think. Is that right? I think that's right. caleb.top/freedom, if you want that book. In the next 5 to 10 years, perhaps sooner, millions, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm giving you literal numbers of what is going to happen. Millions and millions and millions and millions of people are going to lose their jobs and their companies, including self-employed people, in the first world, the civilized Western world. The non-Western world, different story. We're going to talk about that in detail in a few minutes. But if those of you who are still living in the collapsing West, so that would be the collapsing USA, cuckoo Canada, suicidal Europe, including places like, breakdown Britain, junkyard Germany, certainly authoritarian Australia. Those of you who still choose to live in these countries, why? You're going to be in really big trouble unless you're very specifically arrayed to be AI resistant. Some of you are. Some of you will be okay. Some of you are fucked. So what I'm going to talk about today is about 16 reasons why internationalizing, like I have, moving out of the Western world, will protect you against what is about to happen over the next few years. So 5 flags in international lifestyle can not only make you happier and make you save money on taxes and protect you from Western collapse, it can also protect you from the coming bloodbath of people losing their jobs. In the book Freedom Fortress, I call this the 10 years of brutality. And this is not my term. This is someone else made up that term. You're going to have a decade or so of just millions of people losing their jobs. And what are governments going to do to help these people? They're already bankrupt, right? So what are they going to do? It's going to be a goddamn mess. And so you could sit around and be a part of this mess. And sadly, most of you will. Most of you will listen or watch this video or podcast, or whatever you want to call it, and you're going to go, oh, these are really good ideas. And you're not going to do any of this stuff. And you're going to be fucked in about 4 or 5 or 6 years. And many of you are going to take action on this stuff and be okay. So, take a moment here. In the next 5 to 10 years, millions of people will lose their jobs and businesses. I have slides here. If you're listening to the podcast, I will say this stuff. But if you move out of the collapsing West, like I have, you will be protected. Now, really quick, and I just addressed this in my book. You could argue, Caleb, no matter what you do, eventually AI is going to conquer the whole planet. We're all fucked. Possible. We don't know if that's the case, but that is possible. But in that case, you want to be the last man standing. You want to be the last person to be replaced by AI. I, Caleb Jones, I'm going to be one of the last people replaced by AI. Why? Well, number one, I have a personal brand. How does that replace by AI? Yeah. Okay, number one. Number two, I offer customized, high-touch, personalized services. I'm not an accountant or an attorney or a coder or a copywriter. All the services I offer, what am I doing right now? I'm giving you highly specialized information, customized to you, because this is a live stream. I'm going to answer your questions in a few minutes. Custom to you, and it's my real self doing this. So if I am ever going to be replaced by AI, I will be the last person. The vast majority of you will be replaced much sooner than me. How to start a business that is AI resistant is not the topic of today's live stream. Go read Freedom Fortress. So what I'm saying here is this will protect you from the next 5 to 10 years of brutality, and it will. Here's what. 16 reasons. 16. Why internationalizing will protect you against the coming AI bloodbath. And many of you are already being affected by this right now. Certainly in the next 2 years. Absolutely in the next 5 to 10. Get ready. If you thought Western collapse is bad, and it is, the United States is fucked. Wait till AI comes and replaces your job and your business. And yeah. All right. Reason number one. And these are not, I numbered these reasons, but as usual, they're not listed in any particular order. I'm just doing this for organizational purposes. Reason number one, why internationalizing will protect you from AI. Lower competition from AI-based services and AI-based options. So in many developing regions and non-Western regions, the infrastructure to implement widespread AI services is years behind. I talk about this in Freedom Fortress a lot. Buying you more time to adapt and build. Lower infrastructure always equals more protection from AI. Always, always, always. So the joke I have in Freedom Fortress is, oh no, AI is going to take over all these things. Oh, I'm all screwed. How is that going to happen in Bolivia? So if you live in New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Toronto, Sydney, Australia, London, Paris, yeah, you're fucked. That's right. You live in the Philippines, you live in Cambodia, you live in Paraguay, you live in Bolivia, you live in, all kinds of places. Some you might not like and some you might. These places, it's going to be decades before they get around to doing that stuff. They don't have the infrastructure. There are places in Paraguay, my home. I'm going to be there in about 2 weeks. I can't wait. There are places in Paraguay that barely have electricity and running water. How the hell are they going to build a bunch of nanobots or, Boston Dynamics robots and, massive Tesla-like manufacturing facilities out in the Chaco in fucking Paraguay? They can't. They don't have the infrastructure. So this stuff is going to affect you in the Western world, the first world / Western world first. It's going to affect people in the second world second, third world last. Now, I don't mean you move to, a shithole in Africa. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't live in Africa, but you get my point. So living in Paraguay, I am far, 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 far more protected from AI than you are living in the collapsing Western world. Fact. Reason number two, internationalizing will protect you from AI. More resilience because these non-Western countries tend to be more decentralized. Western systems, power grids, supply chains, finance, banks, investing, corporate America are more interconnected and more centralized. Thus, they are more vulnerable to AI-driven disruptions. Again, compare the stock market, Wall Street, to Asuncion, Paraguay. You can't even compare the two things. One of the many reasons the West has had so many problems, including the financial collapse of 2008 and things that happened during the pandemic, is because it's so centralized. If one component fails, all the other components suddenly fail. That is not true in most, not all, but most non-Western countries. Something fails, the rest of the stuff just keeps operating. And so when AI takes over, when it hacks these failure points or replacement points or whatever you want to call this is going to happen much more quickly in Western countries than it is in non-Western countries. Now, when I say non-Western countries, let me clarify that for a minute. I'm not saying that every non-Western country is resistant against AI. China's a non-Western country, and they're going to be hit hard by AI. So I'm not saying every non-Western country. But if you're going to move out of the collapsing West to protect yourself from AI, you're probably not going to move to China, right? Okay, right. Simpler systems in developing countries are harder to break. That's exactly right. From power grids to banks. Sometimes in non-Western countries, because they're non-Western, you have frustrations with the banks. I have frustrations with banks in Dubai. I have frustrations with banks in Paraguay. But these same frustrations that I have with these banks not being as interconnected as I like, not being connected to Western banks, are benefits for what's coming from AI. These things that I complain about are going to protect my finances and my day-to-day operating cash, whatever I have in these countries, from these problems. Whereas I've said this before, if you're an American and 100% of your cash is in US dollars in a US bank, I don't even know why you're doing it. But okay, moving on. Reason number 3, internationalizing will protect you from AI. Slower adoption by governments and corporations outside of the West. local governments and big businesses in lower end countries will adopt AI much more slowly. A, again, because of the infrastructure, but B, also because of things like cultural differences. This massively delays things like job automation and the other types of automations that will threaten your job and threaten your livelihood and threaten your business and those around you. It's just, they move slower. You want to, those of you who have spent significant time in South America, Latin world, you know how slow shit moves. And again, us Westerners complain about how slow it is, but that slowness will protect you against what's coming. It also delays regulatory crackdowns, giving you a longer runway. Because we're dealing with governments too. The governments of these countries are going to be much slower to adopt these models. And it's not just second world emerging market countries like Paraguay and Cambodia and Philippines. Places like Dubai. Dubai is beyond a first world country. Okay. I know Dubai is not a country. Thank you very much. I call it a country and I know it's not. Thank you. I always get nitpickers. Dubai is not a country. You didn't, I've lived here 4 years. You didn't think I knew that. Places like Dubai, Singapore, who are much more ruggedly independent and less interconnected and less woke and less left-wing than these collapsing Western governments, are going to be much more careful about adopting this crap than United States, Canada, Western Europe, Australia. They just are. Reason number 4, lower cost of living. This is self-evident. Almost always, non-Western countries are cheaper to live in than Western ones. This includes Dubai. What? Yes. If you live in New York, Paris, Berlin, Sydney, London, Chicago, Los Angeles, Toronto, all those cities are more expensive than Dubai. Yeah. So many of you, Dubai is a lower cost of living. People don't think of Dubai as a lower cost of living city, but compared to those who live in these giant mega Western cities, yeah, it's way cheaper. Why do you think so many people from the UK leave London and come here? London's a goddamn ripoff. When I was there last year, I'm like, my God, kill me. And I'm used to Dubai. So even Dubai is a lower cost of living than most of the West, not most, a lot of the West. And certainly places like Paraguay are way cheaper. Paraguay is 1/8 the cost of the West. 1/8. You will shave your living expenses down to 1/8 if you live in Paraguay or so. You can survive and even thrive on far less income. Yeah. Yes, that's why it is safer to live in lower end countries if you're a Westerner with a location independent business. Now, as always, if you don't have a location independent business, you're already behind schedule. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Join 90-Day Business Builder or do whatever you got to just get that business going ASAP. Because that's step 1 here. This reduces the pressure to maintain a high income in an AI disrupted economy. Correct. With the chaos that is coming, I've talked about this on prior videos and live streams and podcasts, things like that. The people who will be the safest are in 2 categories. What are I've said this before. A, people who are very wealthy. That means you have a net worth of well more than $10 million. You'll probably be fine. Okay. B, if you don't have a net worth of more than $10 million, hyper flexible. People who are hyper flexible. And part of being hyper flexible is you don't have lots of infrastructure. You don't have a big house and 16 cars and another mansion, and another house and a private jet. And now, again, you probably don't have these things if you're not worth that kind of money. But if you have all these expenses and all this, what I call life infrastructure, that's going to be much more difficult for you to be maneuverable and flexible. Now, again, if you're wealthy, do whatever you want. If you're not wealthy, okay. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, even better is to be wealthy and have a lower end lifestyle. I don't own a car. I'm not going to tell you how much money I make. I make a lot of money. I don't own a car. I've shown you walkthroughs of my apartments. I don't live in big fancy. I don't care yet. I will soon. And next year, a different story. But right now, I don't want to live in a big place. Very low infrastructure. I wear the same shirts every day. I don't give a fuck. Well, there's a reason for that. A, I don't care. B, I'm safer from all this garbage than if you need a car and a house and a this and a that and a this and a that. Just the way it works. Reason number 5, Less risk of mass surveillance and control. Now, many smart people or people in this space are leaving the collapsing West just for this reason alone, just for reason number 5. They don't care about the centralization and the cost of living. They're like, fuck this, I want my privacy. And they're leaving just for that reason. Western countries are far more likely, not more likely, this is 100% likely, I should have said, far more likely to integrate AI into surveillance, digital IDs, social controls, Fed coin, shit like that. The United States is going to adopt this as soon as they can. And absolutely Germany and fucking UK will. Are you kidding? Canada too. As the split second the government can adopt this stuff, they will do it to run your ass. Is Paraguay going to do that? Nope. No. Is Dubai going to do that? Pieces of it. Not like the United States. They don't want to. Is Philippines going to do that? No, they can't. They will also do these things faster than other countries, Western countries, outside of a few outliers like China. China will, of course, adopt this. There are some non-Western countries that will absolutely adopt AI in a big way in terms of surveillance. That's true. They'll move there. I think I fucked up my slide here. Most non-Western nations lack the tech infrastructure to implement this at scale. Correct. Kind of the recurring theme here. Many other non-Western nations will avoid doing this to attract more Western talent. Examples I have are the UAE and El Salvador, but there's a bunch of others. So the smart first world or first-ish world non-Western countries will see all this crap that the West is doing, and they'll say, hey, like Dubai has been doing for 10 years now, very effectively. Hey, you think this surveillance crap is bullshit? Come to Dubai. We don't do that to you. And you won't pay any taxes, and we're a really safe city, and it'll be a great life. Because Dubai wants people to move to that country. Places like Dubai, smart countries, need Westerners to move there to thrive, to meet their objectives. Unlike places like Australia that say, you want to move here? Fuck you. Yeah. Reason number 6, internationalizing will protect you against AI. More physical privacy and independence. It is easier to live off the grid or off the radar in more rural or lower tech regions where AI-driven data harvesting is minimal or non-existent. This is in addition to what I just said. So if you want, some of you guys in my audience are really hardcore about privacy. I don't care. My life's an open book. I don't give a shit to a degree. I mean, I talk about all kinds of stuff on my other channel, right? But if privacy is a big deal to you and you live in the West right now and you have no plans to leave, I don't know what you're smoking. Get out of there. Go to the Philippines. You get all the privacy you want there. And for the next several decades. Reason number 7, AI will internationalize. Reason number 7, that internationalizing will protect you from AI. Geo arbitrage. I've talked about this in my books, many books, including The Unchained Man. Standard stuff. You can earn in stronger currencies, USD, Euro, what have you, these collapsing Western currencies, and then do remote work using your AI tools to make more money while spending the money in your cheap country. This is when people say, but Caleb, I live in a shithole country. That's awesome. If you live in a shithole country and you have an internet connection, which you do, great. Start a location-independent business like we talk about here at Unchained CEO. Charge money to people used to paying high prices, like people living in California. I mean, if they're going to stay in that California and they're going to be that stupid, then great. Make money off their stupidity. Charge them the high rates that they're accustomed to, and you live in the Philippines or Cambodia or Uruguay, and you live like a goddamn king. And now with AI, you could use the AI tools that are available worldwide. I use AI every day. I use ChatGPT at this point and Grok too, almost like employees in my company daily. So I can use these tools now to make even more money. And you can use these tools even though you live in a lower end country. This provides the edge that those living in the West don't have. The problem with people living in the West is they're stuck with their expensive currencies. So if you live in the United States, you are stuck with a high level of lifestyle that you have to afford because you don't live in somewhere cheap. This also gives you an extra protective financial buffer in case there are any problems. If the cost of living is 1/8 or 1/2 what you're used to, if you encounter a disruption in your income, you're a lot better off, aren't you? Reason number 8, internationalizing will protect you from AI. Lower exposure to AI-driven economic crashes. Western economies are more interconnected and dependent than AI-driven industry. If a crash hits, you're less exposed than in a more self-contained local economy like Paraguay. So let me ask you a question, you Americans. Even saying that word now just makes me like, God. When Trump did these stupid tariffs because you, for the 5th time, elected a 5-year-old to run your country, and a lot of you lost your entire savings in the stock market and your and your investments because you're invested in American stocks. This is why I've been saying for 10 years, I haven't owned American stock in 15 years. It's stupid. Okay, but anyway, okay, fine. When you had all this chaos and problems in your economy and your stock market, Americans, did Dubai have any problems? Has Dubai had any problems the last 3 weeks economically? Nope. Perfectly fine. How about Paraguay? Have they had any problems last 3 weeks? Nope. Perfectly fine. But you guys have. And how about you other Westerners? Well, I'm not American. I live in London. Have you had problems the last 3 weeks? Yeah, you've had some, haven't you? Because you're interconnected with the United States. Is Dubai interconnected with the United States? A little. Is Paraguay interconnected with the United States? Not at all. So the last 3 weeks have shown you, well, it hasn't shown you anything because you're in America. But it's shown me living way far away from America, thank God. I'm not even going to go to America all year this year, thank God. I'm protected against this crap, which is the entire point I did this, in addition to saving money on taxes. Number 9, lower social pressure and cultural conformity. Western countries may pressure you to keep up, not may, they will. Pressure you to keep up with AI trends, credentials, tools, or retraining. In developing countries and non-Western countries, you are freer to follow your own path without that bullshit. It's true. There's a cultural aspect to this. In many of these countries, so non-Western countries, modest, low-tech lifestyles are normal and even respected. There's less pressure to keep up with AI advancements or constant upgrades. Now, Dubai would not fall in that category. This is a very keep up with the Joneses culture. But Paraguay, my other home, where I spend 5 months a year, yeah. Yep. Exactly. Reason number 10, internationalizing will protect you from AI. Less reliance on high-tech labor markets. Local economies in most non-Western regions often rely on more manual labor, small business, agriculture, or tourism, all of which are sectors less immediately disrupted by AI. Now, that's kind of the 4 quadrants of the non-Western world in these lower-end countries. Let me say that again. This is really important. Manual labor, but what about robots? When are they going to have robots in rural Philippines? Yeah. So manual labor, small businesses. America has basically been gobbled up by giant corporations. Good luck with that. Okay, small businesses, agriculture, that's huge in these countries, and tourism. That's kind of the 4 quadrants of the non-Western world, including places like Dubai. What is one of the main reasons I moved to Dubai back in 2021 when I could go anywhere in the world I wanted? Well, it was during the pandemic, and Dubai was one of the few countries, there was like 5 or 6 countries in the whole world that was still wide open. They're like, fuck this pandemic. We're wide open. Come on in. Now, why did they do that? Why did Dubai stay open when all of your Western countries were locked down like authoritarian shitholes? Why? Because tourism. Dubai said, wisely and correctly, I would have said the same thing. Hey, back during the pandemic, Dubai said, you know what? We're not going to jeopardize 22% of our GDP because of a goddamn flu that only affects super, super old and super, super sick people. Fuck that. We're going to be wide open. Fuck the rest of the world. There you go. That same attitude is going to protect these countries against AI. This includes first world non-Western regions like Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, etc. Correct. So this applies to high-end first world non-Western countries and lower-end non-Western countries. Okay, pause for a quick second. I have an announcement. And I'll get back to, it was our number 10. I have 6 more. How would you like to have the ability to sit down and work on your most important project for 3 hours straight without stopping? You sit down on your computer and you just work for 3 hours and you don't stop. See, 40 years ago, everyone could do that. Now, no one can because of numerous reasons in our environment. How would you like to do that? Stay 100% focused on your most important project for 3 hours straight. No getting distracted, no checking your phone, no wandering over to YouTube or a blog or Instagram or porn. How would your life change if you could focus for 3 hours straight whenever you wanted to do it? I can tell you for a fact, because it happened to me, it's going to completely change every aspect of your life. And not just physically, mentally, not just in terms of your finances or your income, but also physically, mentally, your relationships, all this stuff is going to improve. How would you like to eliminate shiny object syndrome from your life? That's a big problem with guys today. Huge problem. They start on a thing, and then within a week or two, like, well, what about this? Oh, but what if I saw Grant Cardone talk about this? What about that? How would you like to choose a life-changing project and stick with it for months or even years without getting dissuaded? No getting distracted with other possibilities, no getting discouraged, no getting bored, getting 100% done so that your life can change. So what could you accomplish in your life if you were able to pick a project that would change your life and stick with it for months or years and work on it 3 hours whenever you want it, several days a week, every day, whatever you want it? How would your life change? You'd have a whole different life. You'd be shocked. On this Sunday, which is my birthday, April 20th, I'm going to show you how to do this. It's called the 3-hour focus formula. Kill shiny objects, finish your projects, get more done in a morning than most do all week. And that is not marketing. That is literal. I get more done in one morning than the average man gets done in his entire week. That is a fact. And you can too. This is a 3-hour online deep dive training with me. It's live. It'll be on Sunday. Whether or not you show up to the live training, you'll get the full video recording and the audio if you want a separate audio file. You will learn how to work for 3 hours straight, 3 hours straight on any project you want without stopping. You will learn how to stay focused on your most important project for months or years. Calibrate your mind for maximum focus, how to adjust your environment for maximum focus, when and when not to use willpower, because that's a component. Some people say you should never use willpower, and some people try to use too much willpower and it doesn't work. And numerous focus and deep work hacks that I have used to transform my life, not once, but several times, including lately. 3-hour focus formula. If you want to do this, you want to join us on Sunday, there is a small fee, but I've kept it small. It's at www. And you have to type www.caleb.top/focus. The deadline for this to sign up is in 4 days, Thursday. You have Thursday, that's April 17th, midnight that evening, so 11:59 p.m. EST. You got 4 days to sign up for this, and then we're done. And the reason for that is the actual meeting is on April 20th, but the last time I did something like this, a whole mountain of people, which is human nature, all signed up at the last minute, and my team had to scramble around like maniacs, getting people plugged in at the last minute. I don't want to do that again. So your deadline is Thursday night. Then we shut off the shopping cart, and then the actual meeting will be Sunday. Makes it a little cleaner for us. So the actual training is on April 20th at 1 p.m. EST. But again, if you can't make it, doesn't matter. Whether or not you show up, you will get the full audio and video recording. Cool? I've kept this very inexpensive. There is a fee, but I've kept this very cheap to have this be accessible by anybody. And I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. I will probably do other things in related to this topic, but I'm not doing this again. This is also kind of a test to see how well this works. I'm testing this in a few different ways. This is the warm audience way. I'm also testing this other ways that you don't know about. And if this is popular, popular topic. I think it will be. I'm going to do a whole thing on this. I could write a book about this. I could do a whole online course about this. I could do a training program on this. This is a big deal. This is the bottleneck to your life. Your inability to sit down and fucking focus and stick with one thing. That's why you can't get anything done. And the majority of you listening to the sound of my voice do not have that ability because you've been destroyed by something called your smartphone and some other things like lack of sleep, okay, prescription drugs, all this other crap. All right, moving on. So that's www.caleb.top/focus. Cool. Your deadline is Thursday and then you're out. Sorry, I can't help you. Okay, moving on. Reason number 11, internationalizing will protect you from AI. More entrepreneurial opportunity. This is something I'm very excited about. I just did a whole live stream a week or two ago about finding niches outside of the Western world. You should read that. Go watch it or listen to it. AI tools give solo entrepreneurs a huge edge. Yes, it's going to level the playing field. So here's one of the good things AI will do. It's already done. I've made a lot of money on AI, like a lot, especially last, let's see, 3 months. It's going to level the playing field between the small business owner and the big companies or the bigger companies. So AI tools give solo entrepreneurs a huge edge. In low-cost countries, you can build a business with minimal overhead and dominate niches that don't exist in the West, which was my live stream about 3 weeks ago, finding niches outside of the West. And you can use AI as a tool to dominate those niches in ways you can't in fucking Chicago. Reason number 12, internationalizing will protect you from AI. Fewer bureaucratic and regulatory obstacles. That's singing my song because I'm a libertarian. Most, not all, most non-Western countries have looser regulations, allowing faster business pivots and less interference if your business model needs to change quickly. I'm going to say that again. I don't think you understand how important that is because you Americans and Canadians and Western Europeans and Australians are used to big government running your entire life and telling you what to do and and bailing you out of every little problem. And you're used to this shit. So like the fish who can't in the ocean who can't see the water, you can't see the big government in front of your fucking face. That's why you have people, Americans, who call themselves libertarians who voted for Donald Trump, who is the second largest big government spending president in human history. You don't even see it because you guys are blind to this. Most non-Western countries have looser regulations, allowing faster business pivots and less interference if your business model needs to change quickly. Business flexibility, that's why I bolded this. Business flexibility will be 100% required for you to survive and thrive with what is coming. What did I say again? Who are the two types of people who will survive and thrive over the next decade or two? People who are very wealthy and those who are hyper flexible. If you live in a country like the United States or the UK or Australia, where the government is up your ass constantly 24/7, even when Republicans run everything, you idiots, you don't have hyper flexibility. But I do here in Dubai, and I certainly do in Paraguay. Reason number 13, internationalizing will protect you from AI. Increased demand for Western level skills. I've talked about this before. Your knowledge of Western businesses, tech, and systems, plus other things, culture too, is often in demand locally in non-Western countries that you charge a premium while delivering above average service. This is, again, if you choose to use a non-Western niche. That's an obvious one. Reason number 14, internationalizing will protect you from AI. Greater personal freedom and autonomy, which is my entire goal of life. Many of these countries do not enforce the same strict rules, taxes, or controls on individuals and businesses, allowing you more flexibility as AI reshapes markets. At my Alpha Male 2.0 channel, I just had a long discussion last week about having kids outside of the West versus having kids in the West. And what was my primary point there? When you have children in the West, who runs your relationship and finances with that child? The government does. If you're not married to the baby mama, the government will tell you how much you pay that woman. The government will tell you what your visitation is. But if you live outside the West, you decide. Same thing here. Again, I say right here, again, flexibility is the key. You have to be flexible. You are not flexible living in the collapsing West. I'm sorry. And no, Trump won't fix it. Hopefully that should be obvious too by now. Probably isn't for most of you, but okay. Reason number 15, internationalizing will protect you from AI. Increased flexibility to relocate or pivot. So this is if you're location dependent, which is a requirement for all this stuff. It's cheaper and easier to test multiple venues, or move to different cities when you're location independent, not tied down by expensive Western infrastructure or obligations. Those of you who have a non-location independent business in the West, you're just kind of fucked. What do you got to do? Sell your company or shut down your, yeah. Again, flexibility is the key. If you're a location, so here's the deal. If you're a job, that's why I've said many times, if you, today in the modern era, people who have their own businesses are more stable and protected than people who have 9-to-5 jobs. Historically, that was the opposite was true. When you lived in a stable Western civilization, which hasn't been stable for a long, long time, but back in the 50s, 60s, you were more stable if you had a job than a business. Truth. Today, it's the opposite. Why? How flexible is a 9-to-5 employee? You're not flexible at all. I got to adjust my silky shirt. You're not flexible worth a goddamn. If you have your own business, but it's location dependent, you have a little more flexibility, not much, a little more. If you have your own business and it's location independent, you have ultra flexibility. And if you have your own business location independent and you don't live in the West, that's my category, and some of you, you have godlike flexibility. That's why I'm not worried about any of this stuff. I'm not worried about tariffs. That's your problem. Reason number 16, this last one, I think. Internationalizing will protect you from AI. Reduced political and cultural hostility toward entrepreneurship. If you watch Andrew, my friend, Andrew Henderson, you know, my capitalist? I don't know if he's my friend, but I call him a friend. He talks a lot about this. Almost 100% of Western countries are growing more anti-business, especially towards solo capitalists, and double especially to people like me who make high incomes. They're very upset about this, and they're trying to find every way they can to tax you more and regulate you more and restrict your movement and all kinds of shit. Non-Western countries often, I already talked about this, often welcome foreign entrepreneurs and small business owners and are happy to have you. Dubai, Paraguay. Those are the two things that attracted me to Dubai and Paraguay. There are other countries that are like this too. Instead of places like fucking Australia, New Zealand, many other places I can name that say, go fuck yourself. We don't want you coming here. Dubai says, we love you. Come on in. We love you. Please move here. We love foreigners. Dubai, 91% of Dubai are foreigners. Only 9% of people in Dubai are Emiratis, are Arab Emiratis. I mean, this is a city of foreigners here. Because Dubai's smart. They want foreigners. There's no welfare state. They don't want people coming here to mooch off the system, but that's not an issue because they don't have a welfare state. Paraguay too, super duper friendly to foreigners. Come on in. We love you. Because they're smart. They know Westerners who move to these countries make their economies better. And again, these are both places, Paraguay and Dubai, that do not have a welfare state. Unlike the United States, Western Europe, Australia, when they say, either they say, don't come in, but if you're here, great, here's a bunch of free shit that taxpayers will pay for. I think that's it. All right. If you want to join me for the 3-hour focus formula, www.caleb.top/focus. Your deadline is Thursday, April 17th. You only have 4 days to sign up for this. All right. Let me answer some questions here. I got to keep an eye on the time, but so one moment here. Hang on. Now we're doing okay. Okay. And this is one of those things where, you know, you could say, that was a really cool live stream Caleb did, and not do anything. Or you can go, holy shit, I need to get out of here and start taking action. Before I get to your questions, I've said this before, and I'm not exaggerating. If I lived in the United States right now, or Canada, or the UK, or Australia, any of these countries, okay? But in the United States, absolutely, because I'm an American at the moment. If I lived in the United States right now, in April of 2025, God, and I had no location independent income, I didn't have a location independent business, I was stuck in the US, I would wake up every morning screaming in terror. And I'd be running around like my hair was on fire getting that shit done, getting my international backup plan or moving out of the fucking country and starting my business. I would put everything on my life on hold and get that fucking shit done. And I've been saying that. I didn't just say that because of these stupid tariffs. I was saying that 2 years ago, wasn't I? Yeah. And too many are just sitting around waiting for Trump to fix everything. Okay. The real question is, okay, your questions. The real question is, what kind of business is going to be AI proof for the next 5 to 10 years? High touch, personalized, service-based businesses like this, like what I'm doing right now. What do you think about the tariffs? Read my blog tomorrow. The article goes up on about Trump's stupid tariffs. Read that article. calebjones.com/blog. What is your business plan for the future when I can ask an AI to generate a video course teaching me on how to develop an online business and have non-monogamous relationships, etc.? By that time, I won't need your money. I'm almost there now. That's my plan. I'm not going to need the money. On a side note, it's clearly evident that the USA is completely finished. I've only been saying that since 2012. And very, very close to collapse. I've been saying that since 2012. I didn't say it's very close, but I said it's going to happen in your lifetime. Yeah. Yes. I said that in 2012. People said, you're crazy. I raised my total testosterone. Ask me testosterone questions on my other live stream. This is outside of this topic. This is a business and Five Flags International Lifestyle channel. AI is going to crush the BPO industries in the Philippines, India. What's BPO? I don't know what that means. Philippines, India, and Pakistan, which will cause massive unemployment, all the collateral problems. What's BPO? I don't know what that means. BPO industries, I don't know what that means. Have you announced the results of your recent audience survey? Wednesday of the Alpha Male 2.0 channel, I would do that. AI isn't a thing. It's just marketing. Possibly. AI might not do these things. It's possible. I talked about the book. You might be right, but you might be wrong. So if you sit around saying, nothing bad will ever happen, I don't need to worry about this, that's dumb. You should have an insurance policy in case something like this happens. So saying, AI won't do anything, you might be right. But what if you are wrong, dumbass? I'm not calling you a dumbass. But people who say, AI is probably not going to do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stay in the collapsing West. America's still fucked. You say assets holders will be safe in the future? Yes, depends. Yes. What assets should we buy now and hold to be safe over the next 20 to 40 years? No one can answer that question. Get assets now and be flexible on moving the assets to other assets as needed. I like crypto. I like precious metals. I like real estate. That's what I like. But maybe in 10 years, these are bad, so you have to move them into something else. Got to be what I say, flexible. Are you an expert on Google Sheets? I am not. What are some things you use them for productivity? What are some things you use them for productivity? That question makes no sense. I use Google Sheets, yes. But I also use Word and Excel too. How will broken Britain fare compared to the USA, Canada, especially in light of Trump's tariffs? Trump just turned his tariffs off and he will stop them. Read my article tomorrow. What did I say several weeks ago? I predicted this again. Several weeks ago, what did I say about Trump's tariffs? Trump's tariffs will fuck everything up. Everyone's going to get really mad and he'll turn them back off again. Trump has a habit of doing stupid shit, pissing off a lot of people. When people get really mad, he goes, oh shit, and he turns them back off. Like with the Muslim ban he did back in 2018. You guys already forgot about, but I remember. He snarled all the airports in the United States. People screamed bloody murder. And he said, oh shit, he turned it back off again. So these tariffs are not a permanent thing. And you guys got to remember, regardless of how well or how badly Trump does, he's gone in 3 years. Trump is gone in 3 years. Trump is gone in 3 years. Trump is gone in 3 years. You guys who worship Trump like he's Jesus, he's gone in 3 years. Then what are you going to do, dumbass? Do you think Trump's trade war will at least temporarily lower the cost of living in UK, Europe? Temporarily for a few months, if that, and make it more attractive as markets to China while further impoverishing average Americans? No, I do not think that. What are the most important numbers in your business? Conversion rate depends on the type of company. Why did you replace your morning routine by going straight to work for 3 hours? Are morning routines just a waste of time? Morning routines that are too long are a waste of time. And I've said this consistently. These guys, and I can mention their names, but I won't because I like some of these guys. But some of these guys, they list everything they do as their morning routine. It's like 4 hours morning routine. Why don't you get to fucking work? Alex Ramosi said this. Why don't you just get to fucking work? So no, morning routines are okay. Nothing wrong with morning routines. As long as it's not too long. And I still do almost everything in my morning routine. I just do it later in the day. I wanted to make sure that I get my 3 hours fucking done because I'm coming up on a very big goal that's due in exactly 1 year. 1 year and 1 week. And I'm terrified that I won't hit this goal because it's a big goal that I want really bad. So I'm making all those changes. That's why I did that. Do you feel the same about evening routines, or do you still? No, evening routines are very important, just as long as they're not too long. Is now a good time to invest in the stock market? I do not give investment advice. I do not own any American stocks, and I never, ever, ever, ever will, for I hope are obvious reasons. So all the money you guys lost, I didn't lose any money in my investments because I'm not invested in the American stock market. Do you think being an Unchained CEO, freedom-focused doctor will be possible in the upcoming AI world? Yes. Doctor consultant, that is. Yes. That's even better. Called 8 companies to know their problem. It was really a challenge, and I was really scared. Well, hey, you did it, dude. That's great. Does the fear go away after a while? Yes, but remember, you don't need to call people and ask them are the biggest problem for the rest of your life. You do it till you get consensus from 5 different people on the same problem. Then you're done. You're done calling people. Isn't that nice? It's only temporary. If you don't own any American stocks, do you invest in other stock markets? Occasionally. I try to avoid stocks because I like to stay in my lane. I'm not a stock guy, but occasionally, yes. Also, why do you not have the same reservations about people investing in the UK stock market? I do. The reason I don't scream about that as much is because there's less people who invest in the UK stock market as the US stock market. Normally, how many companies to ask their problems do you have to call to work on? Do you have to call to have a problem to work on? Depends on how many people pick up the phone. You're going to have to talk to about 12, 13 people usually, sometimes a little more. I'm currently working at a retail store. Could I be using that to start a location-independent business? No. Sorry. Your location-independent business needs to be something completely different. Have you considered the West as being reborn, reborn into a turd, reborn, and that it is more accurate word than collapse? No. The West has unparalleled military technology that hasn't been disclosed, and a lot of it. That has nothing to do with preventing Western collapse. First of all, you need to go watch my live stream and listen to my podcast on why the United States is collapsing, all the stats. I did it about 2 months ago. Watch that. I provide about 100 statistics that show that the West is going to collapse in your lifetime, especially the United States. Number 2, in the book Freedom Fortress, which I suggest you read, caleb.top/freedom, I address that exactly. Just because America has a gigantic military doesn't mean they can collapse. A war or something like that could trigger an economic collapse, which will collapse America before a military victory takes place. Go see the Roman Empire. What happened there? They had a big military, biggest one in the world, and they collapsed. Why? If the only requirement for not collapsing was have a big military, we'd all be fine. Americans would be fine. That's not. It's an economic problem, not a military problem. And by the way, how do you fund a military if the economics aren't there? Oops. I call the small farms wine production niche. I just got one person telling me his problems that are the difficulty in selling wine. Okay, am I doing it correctly? Yes. What's your biggest problem? That's it. That's all you ask. What are the most important assets we should buy today other than Bitcoin to survive the AI revolution once all the jobs and businesses are gone? Well, they won't all go away. AI is going to take away all jobs. And if it does do that, that's going to be a long, long time and only in the Western world. Okay, what we're talking about here is the next 5 to 10 years when a lot of people are going to lose. I'm not going to lose my job. I'm fine. I already answered that question earlier. I don't give investing advice. I like cryptocurrency, precious metals, and real estate. And for those who have more money, businesses, buying companies. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong. How many companies do you think that I have to call? I already answered that question. Do you think real estate will be safe in the future as an investment. You got to define future. The near future, yes, but not in the United States. Near future, foreign real estate is going to be fine. Yes. Considering that everyone will lose their job to AI. Not everyone. No. How are people going to pay for rent? Yeah, not everybody. Not everybody. Not everybody. What are the most important aspects of an effective evening routine? Depends on you. In my opinion, it is reviewing the day and skincare. But I'm an old man. Maybe you're young. If you're young, you don't need to do skincare at the evening. How is Philippines or Paraguay more safe from AI than New York? I just gave you 16 reasons why. Did you not listen to what I just said? I suggest you watch the replay of this. If someone is location dependent, why wouldn't they be equally safe in Manila as in Warsaw? Still more safe than Manila than Warsaw, but Warsaw's a little more safe than like New York. So there's levels. New York is unsafe. Warsaw is a little less unsafe. Manila's even less unsafe than that. Or less. Yeah, less unsafe, right? Are roofers specialized in renovating monuments a good niche? I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true if you made that up. Are there roofers that only specialize, that only do renovating old buildings? I don't think that's real. I think you made that up. Niche cannot be something you made up. Go read my blog, calebjones.com/blog on what is a niche. It was last week's article. Or companies that rate construction, renovation, evacuation equipment. That's too broad. Bitcoin will demonetize real estate long term. So again, long term, we can't make predictions because we don't know what's going to happen. 30 years, I can't make predictions 30 years out. The world will be very different by then. I can't make predictions. Or it could be, or it could be. It may not be, but it could be. So we don't know. What is something AI will do that you are certain it will already? What is something AI will do that you are certain it will do that really excites you? Oh, I've talked about this. I will be able to say to AI at some point, hey, AI, I want to watch a movie starring a 40-year-old Harrison Ford, written in the style of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas in the early 1980s, not today, George Lucas, not today, Steven Spielberg, but the early 1980s, in the style of Raiders of the Lost Ark, an original story, an Indiana Jones movie that's awesome. Go. And it'll make one for me and I can watch it. And it'll probably be pretty good. Stuff like that. That's cool. Not only monuments, but specialized. I don't know what specialized means. When using the check system to track your habits, would you recommend consulting your check system in the morning or the evening? It doesn't really matter. Well, you have to check them off in the evening. You got to check them off in the evening, right? Or as you do them, right? So it doesn't really matter. Do you plan on making your own version of an AI persona to allow us to access membership? No, I've answered this question several times. I know people are doing this. I'm not going to make an AI Caleb because I'd have to charge you. If I charge, I have to charge money for that. Okay. And I have to charge, and what you charge for that is like $37 or $37 a month. I have no interest in charging you guys $37 a month for anything. I just don't care. I have something that low. I have no interest in doing it. If I can charge you $500 a month, I'd do it. That's worth my time. But you guys are going to pay $500 a month for an AI Caleb. So no, the answer is no, I'm not going to do that. The economics don't make sense to me. I saw one such company. That's how I got the idea. Okay. And maybe pursue that. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. If you want to join me on Sunday, and I'm going to show you how to work for 3 hours straight without stopping, and stick with a project for months or even years to change your life. Because for most of you, that is the one bottleneck of your life, is you can't stay focused. I'm going to show you how to do that because I can do it. And there was one point where I didn't know how to do it. And now I changed. Now I can. So you can, it's a teachable skill. www.caleb.top/focus. Your deadline to sign up is Thursday night, even though the actual session will be on Sunday. Cool? Caleb.top/focus. Cool? Cool. All right. And again, take this information that I've given you and put it to practice. Put this actually into practice and do these things. Save yourself. Don't sit around being a lissig and thinking about stuff and analyzing stuff and reading more blogs and listening to more YouTube videos and mentally masturbating and not doing it and hoping Trump will fix it. Don't do that, please. Please don't do that. And I know a lot of you are and you're fucked. But those who take action on this stuff, you're going to live a great life. Cool? All right. See you soon.